Namaskar. Today I am going to take you through a journey of joyful learning. Joyful learning is a wonderful experience for teachers as well as students. What exactly is joyful learning? I want to explain the process of joyful learning through an acronym of learners. What exactly joyful learning is? When a learner loves the subject, E. engaging, A. an attentive learner, R. a responsive learner, N. is able to narrate after learning, E. enjoys the learning, R. reflects on the learning, S. the satisfaction a student and a teacher gets is joyful learning. After achieving the joyful learning, let us see joyful learning can be achieved. Joyful learning can be achieved only when a teacher is creative, innovative, and passionate about her teaching. She can kindle a spark in the minds of the students, which can make a long journey for the process of joyful learning. So today I am going to use a tool which can help you in joyful learning. Let me tell you, I'll utter the word art. Once I tell you the word art, what comes into your mind? Yes, a vibrant splash of colors which can brighten your mood or lighten your mood. So that is art. So what is art? Art is a way of expression, imagination, exploration, and experimentation. So why not we use such a wonderful tool for teaching our students for a joyful learning? So today we'll be talking about art integration. Let's find out what is art integration. Art integrated learning is, in short, is called AIL, is a pedagogical tool which is based on learning through the arts and with the arts. It's a cross-curricular pedagogical approach where the child is given enough space and scope for free expression. In this session, you will be able to learn 1. The need for art integration as a pedagogical tool. 2. Benefits of art integrated learning. 3. Learning objectives of AIL for different age groups. 4. Implementation of AIL efficiently. 5. Some important tools of AIL. 6. Assessment strategies of AIL. Now let me take you to the pathway of learning stages using AIL. So how does the learning stages go? First, the learner starts with observation. Then he proceeds to imagination, after which he explores and he or she experiments. The next one is applying the knowledge what they have gotten through learning in creating something good. This is what is the pathway of the learning stages using AIL. That's nothing but the end one is experiential learning. So AIL, when combined with experiential learning, becomes a wonderful tool for joyful learning. Now let us go for what is the need for art integration as a pedagogical tool. 1. It enriches the learning processes by enabling students to observe, explore, think, and learn without constraints. Children engage with emotions, creativity on a cognitive level to integrate and simplify complex learning experiences. It encourages creativity, develops problem-solving abilities, and improves the ability to handle mental imagery as well as an understanding for using spaces creatively. It leads to the holistic learning and development of children. Now let me go to benefits of art integration. Today talking about two stakeholders. One is students, the other is teachers. First, let me concentrate on the students. Students become active learners as they creatively construct and demonstrate their understandings and not memorizing. It enhances cognitive, that is thinking, recalling and reflecting, affective, that is social and emotional, and psychomotor abilities of the learner. Reflection, as you know, is an inherent part of the AIL process, transforms these experiences into learning. It also engages students in social and collaborative learning, that is, they are going to learn from teamwork. It makes the teaching learning process, that is the TLP, dynamic and evolving by involving students in revisiting the ideas and revising their work. It places students into the role of problem solvers. Now, let us move on to the benefits of AIL with the teachers. AIL energizes teachers by providing increased professional satisfaction. You feel successful, becomes a very powerful tool when overlapped with experiential learning and makes learning outcomes quite successful. It makes classroom environment more engaging and joyful. Assessment becomes more realistic. That is what every teacher wants. Let's take a very quick recap. Students become active listeners, promotes social and collaborative learning, they become reflective thinkers, and they take the role of problem solvers. Now, with the teachers, they attain professional satisfaction. Achieving successful learning outcomes becomes a great effort, then joyful learning is the end product. Now, let us move on to stage-wise learning objectives of AIL. In science, I'll be concentrating with science from now on. So let us go through different stages. First, let us focus on pre-primary. 90% of the education at the stage should be through arts, like drawing, painting, clay modeling, singing, actions or movements. More focus, this is a very important statement, more focus should be on the process and not on the product. Now let's move on to a higher stage, that is primary. Art should be integrated with all the subjects, that is English, science, social, Hindi, maths, like that. The art integration in classes 1 to 3 and 4 to 5 should be around 80 and 70% respectively. Children should freely express their ideas and emotions. They should be able to tell anything to the teacher while doing the work. Develop all the senses through keen observation, curious exploration and spontaneous expression. As soon as they observe, explore, they should be able to express. More focus should be on the once again on the process and not on the end product. It should serve as an interdisciplinary purpose, catering to multi-level needs of the classroom. These are some of the pictures which you can see: dancing, singing, then they are creating art and at the same time integrating art. Now let us go to upper primary. The children should become aware of the interdisciplinary connections, how two subjects can be combined with art. Enhance communication skills, creative, critical thinking and problem solving skills. These are all the 21st century skills which the children are supposed to have. Then emphasis use of learners' own imagination and development of their creative expressions. They should work together in teams for their social emotional development and enhancement of life skills, which are very much important for the present day children. Focus should be on the process and once again not on the product. This you are able to see it in pre-primary, primary and upper primary. Periodic regrouping of children is a must. Why? For better exchange of ideas and accommodating different learning levels. Children are allowed to use diverse art forms. They can use any kind of art form which they want, and materials to avoid monotony, that is repetition. And ICT tools can be used as exploratory tools along with art, which can make it more interesting. Now, as you are able to see, integration with other subjects, social and collaborative learning, free to express their ideas and imagination, inculcation of diverse art forms. Now, all of us as facilitators, I think all of us must be facing some common problems while implementing AIL. What are those? Let us see. One is lack of discipline among the students. Why? Because there is a space crunch in the classrooms and set up for team activities. Not able to complete it with the curriculum. Shortage of time to carry out AIL activities. And lack of expertise in teachers about AIL, which is most important. So how do we overcome? How to implement AIL in teaching of science efficiently? So we should do all these. 1. Capacity building for teachers. Teachers have to undergo and update themselves through training for AIL, and parents have to be appraised of AIL. Then planning of activities, age appropriate activities should be planned prior so that there is a smooth conduction of activities. Time management, it should include planning of annual calendar and timetable planning along with the appropriate activities and a separate period for that. Now going to resources. Resources for age appropriate, that is pre-primary, primary and upper primary activities in science have to be planned and arranged. Classroom management, flexible seating, forming groups for activities that can help in more interaction and providing a better environment for students to learn together, share their ideas and come up with a solution to the problems. Then display of art integrated activities, proper display boards or areas, appreciation notes by the teachers even for the smallest work they do, display of artworks of great artists which can act as motivation for the students should be there. Now after this, let me suggest you some important techniques of AIL that can be implemented in teaching of science. The first one is performing arts. That is, in performing arts, it can be done through role play, dance, advertisements, puppet shows, songs, many more. Now going to visual arts. It can be in the form of drawing and painting, poster making, mask and puppet making, jewelry and pamphlet making, clay modeling, pottery, paper crafts, heritage crafts and many more. These are some of the ideas which I am suggesting which you can employ. There are some more which you can do it while teaching in science. Comic strips can be done, photography can be used, PPT making, sketching or drawing. Educational toys or games can be taught to children how to do. They are wonderful in that. Visit to places of understanding like museum, nature walks, rangoli making, story writing, film or video making, preparing of herbarium, leaf arts, all these can be employed. So after suggesting the activities, I would like to tell you what are the age appropriate activities which can be suggested under AIL for the different age groups, like pre-primary, poems or rhymes in rhythm and melody which children can enjoy while learning through movement and songs. Theme-based poems from their immediate environment in developing a sense of auditory and visual imagery. Exploration of different sounds through commonly found objects help them differentiate between noise and music. Those were simple activities for the pre-primary. Now let's go one step ahead for the primary. The children of classes 1 and 2 should be left with the material to experiment, explore and express on subjects and situations they observe around them. You give them a material and allow them to observe and interpret. Class 3 onwards, they can be given simple topics related to their day-to-day life and immediate environment, which also covers their curriculum. Visits to zoos, bird parks, museums, etc. is always good. Teaching them small science songs which make them interested to science, making models in clay, teaching differences between hard, soft, float, sink, soluble, insoluble through practical demonstration. It can start at this age, which can develop interest in science. Working on small projects, building small models can start from class 3 onwards. Now going to upper primary, you go one step higher where field visits to places like museums, galleries, historical monuments, melas, bazaars, etc. should be incorporated. Preparing comic strip, short videos, podcasts, designing educational games, writing stories of processes in science like structure of a cell, germination, etc. can be employed. PPTs, presentations, role plays should be focused more where communication skills can get developed. Choreographing dances regarding different concepts of science like a molecule dance can be employed. This is just a sample. Now, enacting science concept through advertisements like Newton's law of motion. You can take any concept and make an advertisement using that. Learning songs of science for better retention like song of the periodic table, acid, bases and salts can be taken. Working on science projects, building science models, demonstration, these all help in teamwork, leadership skills, communication skill, exchange of ideas, problem solving, critical thinking, etc. Making of rangolis, culinary art related to science, puppet shows, etc. can induce more interest in science. Now, after all this, let us move how do we assess using AIL. So let's go with the assessment strategies for AIL. 1. Remember to keep it in mind all these things should be there. While using assessment through AIL, it is always non-judgmental. It should be non-comparative. It is about each child, how the child expresses himself. Never compare. Non-competitive. It should not be competitive spirit, should never be brought there. It's a cyclical process. It should be non-threatening. Assess both verbal and non-verbal expressions. I think you should be able to understand. Assess socio-emotional and life skills. Now, let us see what are the skills to be assessed using AIL. 1 is creative thinking, 2 critical thinking, 3 empathy and self-awareness, because emotions are going to be expressed through art, coping with emotions, coping with stress, interpersonal relationships, effective communication skill, how they are able to bring it there, decision making skills, whether they would like to employ this or that. Then a problem solving skill, how good they were at problem solving. So all these skills can be taken to assess AIL. Now let us find tools for assessing through AIL. 1. Drawings and paintings, worksheets and workbooks. 2. Art activities, which may include cutting, pasting, thumb printing, leaf rubbings, movement and rhythm. All these can be. Role play, dramatization, puppetry for performing arts, portfolios with samples of finished artwork can be. All these tools can be for assessing through AIL. Now, other ones are observation records for field visits and excursions can be taken for assessment. Stories, poetry, letters, posters and story illustrations based on a theme. All these ideas can be put in as a tool for assessing AIL. Presentations and performances of the children can be taken. Project works done in groups, primary and upper primary classes can be considered as tools for assessing through AIL. Now, let us have a fun recap activity. After you have learned all the things during this session, now we'll have a fun recap activity. As you can see, there are cards placed in the squares. There are information written in, as you can see, there is a square which contains smaller squares. In the smaller squares, there are statements written about AIL. What do you have to do? You have to pick the cards or choose the cards which has the right statement about AIL. So the time starts now. You have guessed it right. So let's take a look at the right answers. As you can see, wherever the boxes don't have the statement, they were the wrong ones. Wherever the boxes have the statements, they were the right statements. So this is what is about AIL. So if we follow all these things properly, then we will have this beautiful tool transforming the students' learning into a joyful learning. So let us end up with a quote. Art integration becomes an invitation not only to personal growth and learning, that changes our identity completely as teachers. So hope the session was enriching, and let's meet for one more session of art integration in Science in Detail. Thank you.